Welcome to the Charleston CFO Council. This organization was co-founded in 2015 by Robert Bendetti and Mark Carmichael in order to provide a networking and educational forum for senior financial executives to share best practices, to discuss current financial issues, and to learn about current topics related to the performance of their job.
Kerem, good afternoon. How are you doing, sir?
We're doing well. Not a bad Monday so far.
I know. Well, thank you for doing this. This is awesome. This is the first time that we've met, so I'm excited as the rest of the group here to meet you. So thank you very much for doing this.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Kerem Bolukbasi is a operations executive with a little mom and pop private equity company called TP&G Capital. I think you're maybe 70 billion, 80 billion, something like that. You know, small.
About 120 now.
120 billion, decent.
Yep.
Before that, 12 years, I think 13 years at GE and rising different positions, senior level financial executive positions up. I noticed you were doing some CFO, energy, power division, gas engines stuff before starting over at TP&G. You got your undergrad at the College of Charleston. You got your MBA at the University of North Carolina. And something interesting that I found out about you, I think you are a reserve officer in the South Carolina State Guard. Is that true?
That's right. I'm a search and rescue officer. Yep.
Ooh, that sounds cool. Tell me about that.
Whenever you guys get stuck in the ocean during the hurricanes, in your house, flooding, what have you, me and my team may come and get you out of there.
May I never need your help, sir.
I hope not either.
Question number one, let's get into it. Kerem, what is your favorite business book and why?
You know, I thought about this, and I'm sorry to tell you that I was unable to come up with just one, but I'll tell you, I usually enjoy biographies. For example, you know, Steve Jobs, Jack Welch, Warren Buffett, people like that, because I think it helps me relate to them, to understand they had normal lives, they had normal challenges or challenges just like we are, and they still went through it and accomplished great things. So they inspire me, and I like those biographies.
Do you have a recent one that you've read that you really liked? My daughter is looking for a recommendation. What you got?
You know, David Schwartzman is probably a good one.
Excellent. I will check that out, sir.
Yeah.
Question number two. What is the best advice you've ever received?
The best advice was take the jobs for the boss you're working for, not the job itself. So a lot of the jobs, even though they may not be the sexiest jobs or what you really wanted to do, working for the right person, right people, I always found most rewarding as opposed to taking a great job but working for crappy people.
Mm-hmm. Question number three. What is a new habit that you've recently picked up or a new tool that you've recently started using that you have found beneficial?
You know, this one was hard too. I've been thinking about this, and I don't have anything new, but something old that I've been trying to do, which is try to limit the amount of multitasking I do and just focus on one thing until I get it done and get it done right. Obviously, with the phones and the emails and meetings, it's very difficult for us. But whenever I find myself, force myself, focus on one thing, I realize that I'm so much more efficient and the quality of the product is much better. So I continue to work on that.
That's true. That reminds me, I was reading recently that there's very few languages in the world that have a plural form of priorities. English is, there's usually just priority. You can translate that to many, many languages, but there's very few other than English where there's a plural form of it. And maybe that's for a good reason. I think you might be onto something, sir. Question. Yeah. Question number four. What is the best part of your current job?
I think the best part is it's always a unique type of a challenge and a puzzle and a problem solving when you're part of such a large private equity firm that invests across the spectrum, many industries, many geographies, many sizes. It's always a different kind of puzzle to solve. I enjoy that. I like that. I definitely don't get bored. I was recently the CFO, interim CFO of Vice Media out of Brooklyn, a global diversified media company with a bunch of millennials. And prior to that, I led the carve out of McAfee from Intel, and now I'm heading to a medical devices company. So it's always interesting. It's always something to learn and something to solve for, and that keeps me going and excited about the jobs.
That sounds fun. Awesome. Question number 5. What is something personal that you would like to share that maybe we don't know about you?
That's you already got me on that one. I was going to say I also serve my fellow statesman and cityman as a search and rescue officer. It's something that I enjoy, that puts it in perspective. I was an ROTC in college, so I have military background, and this gives me an opportunity to stay close to that community, give back, and be a good example.
Anything you'd like to share about how you started and how you got into that, or an interesting story of when you've actually had to mobilize and go out and help your fellow man?
Yeah, I think every mobilization is a little different. I think the training was probably worse than some of the deployments itself, which is typical. I was a Marine as well, and went through Marine officer training, and I feel like I had a lot more stories to tell than my deployments. Plus, I was in an intelligence unit when I was deployed, so I can't really talk about it much. But when we have more time over drinks, I have many training stories that I can tell you about.
Well, I'll take you up on that, and the beers are on me, sir. Question number 6 is, what is something that I didn't ask that I should have asked, and what's your answer to that?
Yeah, I think the one thing I was thinking is, how can we make Charleston and our region a more vibrant economic hub? One of my biggest rubs is really, or challenges, I love living here. I'm a Turkish immigrant, but I pretty much lived most of my life in the Carolinas. This is home. And I'm so tired of, getting on a 6 a.m. Monday morning planes every weekend, going to God knows where. I wish we would have more opportunities locally, regionally, that we can get this vibrant economy going. I joined recently the Charleston Deal Alliance. I'm going to try to be active with them as much as possible. When you meet those people, when you put them all in one room, there's tremendous amount of talent there. But when you talk about what they are doing, which projects they're working on, almost none of them are in the region or in the city. And with that much talent, I think we ought to find a way to bring some more capital and make bigger investments. So that's one of my goals. Hopefully, we will be working for companies that are actually based in here as opposed to New York or San Francisco or Miami one day.
Well, amen. I'm glad you're on it. I learned a lot about you, and appreciate your service. I didn't know that you had served in the Marine Corps, so thank you very much for your service, and then continued as a reserve officer in the South Carolina State Guard. That's super cool.
Thank you.
Well, thanks. Have a great day.
Thank you all too.